Improving your business one slice of toast at a time. What the hell is Dave on about? We'll get into that. But a question that I have generally is, why is a great customer experience still so rare? Now, we're all consumers. We all experience products and services day to day. There's resources, there's so much training out there, there's thought leaders, there's books, there's academies, you can learn so much. Why is a great customer experience still so rare? I think as business owners in the room, we would love to say that the experience we give is fantastic, but sometimes it might miss the mark. And is that through design, or is that purely by coincidence? So that's what we're going to explore. For me, in my opinion, this is kind of what a great business looks like. This is utopia, right? So we've got profit growth, we've got delighted customers, and we've got happy people, engaged employees that are delivering the values, delivering the behaviours that we want to see day after day. But for me, there's always one, maybe two things that are kind of not working in harmony. And again, not necessarily through choice, but there's always room for opportunity. Last year, I did a talk on how to leverage your business growth by the use of a cup of tea. So I love an analogy. There I am. I'm wearing green again. Who knew? There's a small QR code there if you want to catch up on last year's talk. If you fancy a laugh, I lose my voice at about 26 minutes. So it's worth a watch. But again, there's a little bit of a precursor to today, but thinking differently. I saw my face weirdly on the poster outside, and above that it says day 2, take action. And that's what I want you guys to start thinking about, is taking action. So with that said, can you grab a pen and paper and draw me a pig? Guys at home that are tuning in or online, feel free to do it. Just give you a minute or two to draw a pig. And you're probably looking at each other, whether you know each other on your tables or not, thinking, geez, we haven't got to toast yet. Why do we need to draw a pig? And it's funny as well, our brains know what a pig is, what it looks like, but how do we get that onto paper? I'm sure we've got some budding artists in the room and online. I can hear a few chuckles as people are drawing. I'll just give you a few more seconds. I can see some sketching looks going on in the back over there, some artistry, which is good. Okay, so when you finish, can you hold your pigs up and show me? Fantastic. Okay, we've got some big ones, we've got some small ones, we've got some really interesting looking ones. Fantastic. That one at the back looks great from here, but that just could be my eyesight. Okay, so thank you very much for that. No one asked what kind of pig I would like to be drawn. That was my customer requirements. You kind of gone, I know what a pig looks like. I'll draw it. So no one asked what that pig needed to look like. So we're going to draw a pig together. So on your paper, can you draw a circle? And then within that circle, a smaller circle. And inside that circle, a little oval. 2 triangle feet, because I designed this in PowerPoint. And we're going to give him 2 triangle ears. 2 round eyes. His snout. Nice squiggly tail at the back. And a big smile. So we've had a bit of standard work there. Arguably, it's been a shorter time to create and draw that pig. If we can hold our pigs up again in the room, we've probably got a little bit more standardization there, which is great. The variation we've got is probably the size of the pig, how much of the paper we've actually used. But again, we can fine-tune that standard work. So what does this pig represent? For me, it's the ability to understand the customer requirements, right? So I said draw a pig. It's not an order form. You don't need a front door process for it, anything like that. But that customer requirement at the very beginning helps us to understand, what kind of pig are you after, Dave? If we were in the pig drawing industry, we would need that information. Then you've got your processes, so your standard work. So much variation in the room. How do we create that consistency? Then we've got the the inefficiencies that we build on inefficiencies. I see this all the time. Stuff just compounds. A process gets set up, and we go, cool, that works, that's fantastic. And then 5, 6, 7, 10 years later, same process, but new technology, new systems all around it, and we've got things that don't talk to one another, integrations aren't working. So that's where I see the possibilities from drawing a pig. So hopefully that's been a little bit thought-provoking there. Now we're going to get onto toast. Who likes toast in the room? Yeah? Who had toast for breakfast out of interest? Yeah, a few hands. I haven't had breakfast, so I'm going to feel hungry at the end of this. How many of us make toast without even thinking about it? Yeah, it becomes second nature. It's a process that we just do. Is it the same way we do it every single time? Probably, because that's what we know and what we love. That's how we do it. So we don't need an instruction manual for it. We just do it, it's automatic. But we all do it slightly differently. We're going to come on to toppings in a bit, but quick show of hands, who can see their toast right now? Yeah? Anyone want to call out numbers? Number 8, okay, warm bread. 6. 3. Yeah, okay. Any ones in the room? Yeah? Amazing. Out of interest, you put a load of butter on top of it just to... Yeah, good man. Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay, so the task is the same, but the outcome varies depending on what we want. Again, the customer requirements and the decisions we make along the way. Anyone been to a hotel and put the slice of bread in the machine that takes about 4 years to go around? And it comes out warm bread. And you go, do I do it again? I'll put it in, I'll risk it. And it comes out number 1. And how did that happen? So those decisions influence what happens. So for me, this is how I see the state of the market. There is so much variation, so much choice out there where you can choose a company one day, leave them the next, and choose different things. I think social media is so powerful. It can build you up, but it can pull you back down in an instant. So again, that customer experience. We probably get to a point where we know our family and what their toast preferences might be. But again, in the room, we say, oh, I had toast this morning. We think of our own toast. We don't think of what their toast might have looked like. We paint our own picture in our own head. So we're not going to necessarily know what everyone's preference might be. So this, for me, kind of represents the state of the market. We are in the age of the customer, where we have got more choice than ever before. Out of curiosity, has anyone changed their utilities provider recently at all? Yeah. Is it a doddle, or is it... Yeah, it's fairly simple. I did it recently. I had to send my bill, and that was it. I didn't have to phone someone and sit on hold for an hour. It was simple. And that's because someone said, we can give you a better price. All I have to do is that. Why would I not do it? So toast is fairly ordinary, but I think it's also very deliberate. It represents the choices that we make as individuals that define and determine that outcome. Quality, time, delivery, they are the key things for me that go into a process, to an organisation, to deliver the best experience that you possibly can. Now, I've been speaking a lot about customer experience. What I want to really say right now is employee experience is just as important. I saw a study the other day where more and more employees are getting frustrated that their customer experience plans, strategies, whatever you want to call them, are great, and we're doing everything for the customer, but the employee's been forgotten about. Employees want the same experience their customers are getting. So it's how do we use both in tandem and make sure that everyone is happy. Not always easy. So let's bring this back to the real world. Let's say bread is our people and processes, the toast are our systems and our platforms that we use, duration, so the length of time we have it cooking for, let's say that's leadership decisions. Then we've got our toppings. That's where we're going to add our sprinkle of customer experience on top. And then we've got the table where it's it's eaten and enjoyed. That's the culture. So let's dive into these in a little bit more detail. So the bread, people and processes. The bread is the foundation, right? We want people working with processes every single day that are consistent. Inconsistent bread, as an example, if you've got something fresh one day, stale the next, there's no amount of effort that's going to sort of fix it. So if you've got a stale piece of bread, goes into a toaster, you're starting on the wrong foot from minute one. We'll come onto that in a little bit as well. So quality in, quality out, we want clear roles, responsibilities, capability as well. We don't want people having to perform heroics to save a situation every single time. As good as that might feel, it's tiring, it's exhausting for the individuals. I'm sure we've all been there to a degree where we pull something out of the hat, but it's been draining for us. I would say that most people in an organisation are well-intentioned, capable, once they've had the training. You do get a few bad eggs, naturally, wherever you go. But I think what frustrates me the most is seeing great people have to find workarounds because the processes don't work, they don't fit. So we're constantly creating these workarounds. Everyone might have their own nuanced way of doing it. Again, the toast thing, how do we like it? How do we like to have it? So for me, it's that inconsistency, you're kind of creating an inevitable outcome where you've got potentially a bad quality result at the end of it if you have got bad processes, but great people. Systems and platforms. Systems amplify the behaviour for me. CRM tools, HR, ticketing systems, communication tools. Oh, that's the bane of my life right now. WhatsApp, I was talking to a founder the other day who reportedly gets 320 WhatsApp messages a day in one chat. And I said, how do you maintain that? He went, I don't. So he's losing so much. So we were talking about what he could use. Slack, Monday, Teams. Some people use all of these. So how do you create one area that you can communicate effectively as a team? How can you share all of your information? Is it on SharePoint? Is it another tool? I'm not selling any of these by any chance. But I'm just giving you examples that there's so many places we can store so much stuff. We've got sometimes departments that work in silos, which leads me on to a story, actually. I worked with a firm recently who had 6 CRM systems. And when I say CRM, some of them were spreadsheets. So they weren't really systems. It was just a lot of data in one place. And that's because each silo department had free rein to do whatever they wanted. They didn't know what the left hand was doing. They didn't know what the right hand was doing. We need a CRM. Let's go and do that. When we gathered all the information together, there were so many departments that didn't have customer information. The sales guys at the front of the process didn't have the guys that were raising tickets in support. The guys are actually using the stuff. So we brought all of that together, saved them a bundle in the process, but got the teams actually communicating as well, which led on to another problem, which was a good thing because we're identifying opportunities to improve. This one's really interesting. So the leadership decisions. Attention matters. Too little attention, things undercooked. So you've got standards that start to slip. Issues linger, compound, become bigger problems over time. People just assume this is how it is. This is the way we work. Anyone had any new joiners to their firm recently? Yeah? You want them to have the best onboarding experience. You want them to come in and go, wow, this company's great. I've got a voice where I can raise opportunities, ideas for improvement. What you don't want is them to come in and go, oh, okay. Once you get under the bonnet of it, this is how it actually works. Then you've got the flip side of it. You've got too much attention, things start to burn. Micromanagement creeps in. Confidence drops, and people stop putting their hand up to do things. They stop taking ownership. What we want is people to be empowered, and do you know what? There's a problem there. I can go and fix it. That's what we do. So for me, leadership decisions, it's judgment, it's about timing, it's knowing when to step in closer to the situation or take a step back. I worked with a company and the senior management team decided to map the process. The guys that actually did the job, like you guys sitting down at the table, They were looking, going, what on earth is this? The senior management team created the happy path, what good looks like. It's not reality. It's not how it works every single time. There's rework that goes into it. There's bottlenecks. The guys said there's a real disconnect here, and that was part of the problem. Top-ins. Okay. A little bit more engagement for you guys. So we've heard about the cold, cremated, buttery toast man over there. Who likes different toppings? These are just a select few, right? I realised after I made these, my other half said to me, you haven't put avocado on there. I'm like, I wouldn't put avocado on toast, so that's why it's not on my slide deck. So any avocado on toast people in the room? Yeah? Boo. And I'm joking. I'm joking. Okay, but toppings, this is kind of, for me, is the bit where your customer experience, your brand comes to life, right? And this is where I think a lot of organisations start to think, oh, we should have done that at the start of the process, so let's sprinkle a little bit of sugar on top of it, and let's see if we can make this work. And that's where it kind of comes to a point where we're polishing it a bit too much, but in the end, the toppings are added last because it's the last thought we had, and that's the same for customer experience sometimes. I think when customer experience is designed and our processes are designed in such a way to deliver that customer experience, I think that's where the magic really, truly does happen. I love this because I talk to people about this all the time. Customers don't see the workshops you have, the meetings you have, the strategy. They don't necessarily know your values or your intentions. Customers don't experience your intent. They see, they feel the product, and that's when they go, oh, that's not quite what I was asking for. Has anyone been in an environment where a salesperson has sold them the dream, and then you actually get the product and go, that's not what I asked for? And then you say, oh, where's the bit of functionality that can do this? They go, oh, you've got to pay extra for that. Ah, okay, that's not what we signed up for. So for me, it's how do we go back to the stale bread bit, yeah? So stale bread, we've realised we've cooked it for too long maybe, so we just lather it in butter. That'll save it. But at that point, you're papering over the cracks. So that, for me, is where the toast element comes into it again. And this is the table, the culture, where it all lands. This is what people say when you're not in the room. So, again, we're all consumers. We've probably all been out to dinner, to cafes. Annoyingly, when you're taking a bite of something and someone comes over, is everything all right with your meal? And you're like, yes, thank you. But there might be some problems. But sometimes, I don't know if it's our nature, our culture, where we go, yeah, everything's all right, but then we'll moan about it to the people we're with. Sometimes that's reality. Sometimes we do speak up because there are genuine problems. It could be that customers see you rushing around, trying to meet deadlines, and they go, okay, is this how they always work? Or is this kind of just a one-off? We're going to come on to something in a minute, which hopefully kind of lends itself to this. You don't want customers to see that and think, oh, these guys are disorganised. They haven't got a clue what's going on. If they'd have done a bit of pre-work before. But it could have been unforeseen circumstances. So again, you're the heroics. You're trying to save the situation. We want to be able to say, that's not the way we always do things. But at the same time, not try and convince the customer sort of it's a lie or it's a smoke and mirrors, you know. So I love this as well. The culture, the values, isn't what's written on the wall. It's not what's in a slide deck. It's what's lived and breathed every single day in our behaviours. Those values, for me, are paramount. If you haven't got values in the organisation, fundamental foundation place to start. What do we all stand for? Values are one of the things where people come to a business now and go, this doesn't align with my personal values, so I'm out. Regardless of the pay, people check out because the values don't align. Again, people check out because the values might say they align in the slide decks, but in reality, the behaviours don't let that happen. They don't align with that. So if the toast keeps getting burnt, that's telling you everything you need to know about the culture. So how many times do you go to a restaurant and go, oh, yeah, they got my order wrong a bit there. But you might have been there a couple of times, so you go, do you know what? 9 times out of 10, they're pretty good, we'll go back again. The next time, another issue. That doubt starts to come and you go, do you know what, should we try that Italian place down the road next time? because you've had that experience where you go, that's one too many, we're out of here. How do I do all of this? So I've got something I call my transformation triumvirate, starting with continuous improvement. This methodology alone is fundamental for other things like Lean Six Sigma, Agile, DevOps, you name it. Whatever the methodology might be, this is the ambition, the want, the mindset to go and improve and actually make change happen. This for me is paramount. We've spoken a lot about customer experience this morning, designing what that customer experience looks like, and not kind of going, this is how our process works, so that's what they're going to get. Take it back to the start. How can we redesign what we do to make sure we're delivering the best customer experience? And then we've got change management. When we're looking to improve, when we're looking to enhance the customer experience, change processes, that affects people. We've spoken a lot yesterday, for those that are in the room and online, about AI. I love AI. I'm not tech savvy at all, but people. It's the human element of going, how is this change going to affect people? It could be a building move, and it could be a building move where you're only moving 15 miles down the road. But someone might benefit from a shorter commute, others might have a longer commute. There's going to be lots of different things that come into it. Change in process, who's going to be resistant to it, what changes have happened in the organisation already in the last year, 2 years, so that change fatigue, which is so real. These three talk to one another. So if you're looking to improve your processes, so continuous improvement, change management absolutely needs to be looking at. If you're improving your processes, something down the line is going to affect the customer. So make sure your processes aren't diminishing, tarnishing what you're trying to improve internally. It's actually adding value to the customer as well. How we do it? Strategy. Customer-centric vision, something that really talks to what the customer wants, understanding their needs. You've got customer journeys, you've got personas, but it's diving deeper in it. Go and talk to your customers. Have a conversation with them. Don't just send them a survey, pick up the phone, talk to them. They might moan for a little bit because they've got problems or issues and something wasn't quite right, but that's when you start to get under the skin of what really matters to them. Once we've got that, we want to have conversations within our team. So breaking down these walls, these imaginary walls, these silos we might have between departments, how do we use this insight from customers to drive how we can improve and get better? So that's your bottom-up approach. From there, structured problem solving. We want to make sure that we're using the right tools at the right time to make sure that we are delivering for the customer. Yeah, that is key. Key for our people as well. If we're delivering for our people, we're giving them the ability to make change happen, to make their daily lives easier. I always say I want people to come to work with a smile on their face because they know everything is going to work. And it might sound ambitious, but that's the reality. That's what I want people to walk away with. So ultimately, this should give us a world-class organisation, just from these three pillars. Okay, you are a customer. You've gone into a cafe, you've ordered a portion of buttered white toast. However, it turns up unbuttered, burnt and on brown bread. As a customer, what are your expectations when ordering? Shout them out. Get what you ask for. Yeah, that's exactly what we've been talking about. It's customer requirements. As a customer, how do you feel with the end product? Disappointed? Any others? Angry. Hangry is another one as well. Sad. There's an emotional reaction, yeah? There is something in us that ignites a flame. It could be, disappointment, that's okay, don't worry about it. Or, again, angry. We could go one or two ways there. What would you expect to happen next? Really interesting.
Bring you what you wanted.
Bring you what you wanted, yeah. Free slice of toast? Compensation, maybe? Apology, yeah. Yeah. Lots of different things that we could be looking for, again, probably based on our emotional reaction that we might have had. This is the interesting question for me. Would you expect it to happen again? No. What are the chances of it happening again? It's probably not the first time it's happened, right? It's the first time we might have experienced it. But you think, I've brought that to their attention. They're going to fix that now. They might just go, okay, yeah, thanks. Carry on as usual. So hopefully it doesn't happen again. I won't mention the firm, but I went to a social venue and a guy turned up and took a drinks order. 6 of us there, and he memorized all 6 drink orders. Doing what I do, I was fascinated about how this was going to work out. We were right in the corner, and I watched him walk past 4 other tables that stopped him, and he took an order, he did something, interacted with them, I don't know what happened. But those 6 drinks, 1 of them was correct. The other 5 were wrong. That happened twice. I then went up to the manager, not to complain, but to say, this is what I do. I help customer experiences improve, blah, blah, blah. Out of his back pocket, he pulled out a wad of free complimentary tickets to come back again. I went, brilliant. So you're aware that there's a problem here and you're just giving people free stuff. And he went, mate, I'm just an employee. So cool, okay, so you don't think it's your problem. So there's a bigger problem to be had there. But that was really interesting, and that was my message to me, to always take business cards wherever you go and not writing it on a napkin. Okay, toast. So we're now the owners of the cafe. We've got some data. We can see where toast is getting burnt. Bit sporadic, so the 4th bit of toast we've actually burnt there. 6 out of 45 there, 13.33% for any data people out there. 1 in 7.5 slices. So I wouldn't say that's predictable by any stretch, because there's a lot of times where we do get it right, but sometimes there's a short gap. But what can we do to draw that out? We have here some data. We don't have context. We don't know who the operator was. We don't know time of day. How busy were we? We don't know if anyone's changed the settings. We don't know if the toaster's on the blink. We don't know any of this. So data is great, but it can be chopped up and used to suit whichever narrative you want it to. So be careful of data is what I would say. But we need data, we need measures, we need to know what's working and what's not. So this is a great first step. And that could have been a particularly bad day. So how can we get more days? How do we get more data to understand what's going on? This is what I've helped some companies achieve in the last few years. I'm incredibly proud of these stats, but I didn't do it. You guys in the room, you're the experts in what you do. I see myself as the enabler. I come in and I say, why do you do what you do? Ollie said it at the beginning, asking the stupid questions. I ask the stupid questions. I say, why do you do it like that? And someone says, we've always done it that way. And I'm like, perfect. That's the answer I wanted to hear. How can we think differently? How can we take action? So you guys, your teams, you know what needs to work, what the outcome needs to be, what the input might need to be. I'm there and I go, okay, if this is talking to that might be better. Rather than automating a little part, can we automate a big part? I come with those silly questions sometimes. So, what can you do for yourselves right now? Have a think. Write it down on a bit of paper, your phone, laptop, whatever you want to do. This is for you to take action. If you can make one improvement tomorrow, what will it be? Have a think. Maybe while you're thinking, you might want to set a reminder on your phone, because we write stuff down and we go, oh yeah, we'll get around to that. That's on the nice to-do list rather than the need-to-do list. So what is that improvement going to be? And deliberate language there, what will it be? Not what would you like it to be, what will it be? It could be so simple. It could be, we need to have a daily stand-up just to see what's going on in the team. How are people feeling? Just to engage the troops. While you're thinking of that, there's a couple of other prompts as well. Do you ever feel like something in your organisation is harder than it should be? Treading water sometimes. Why? Is there a problem there? Is there something, an improvement idea that you can fix as a result? Hasn't got to be revolutionary, hasn't got to be disruptive. It just could be something, it takes a lot longer, it's harder to do. Last prompt is, have you ever found that you quietly accept something that you know isn't good enough? And you go, oh, it's not maybe how I would have done it, but okay, that kind of creeps in that below the quality line, but that'll do. Can we stop accepting that? What can we do to make sure that we top quality every single time? Again, designing the processes to make sure everything works 100% of the time. So I want you to have something that you can take action on tomorrow. Not something you go, oh, when we've got a minute, we'll do that. Because that minute never comes. I've got I should have bought one today, I didn't even think. I printed off little tokens that say round to it. And it's got my logo on it, and I give it to people, and I say, there's your round to it. So you can never say, oh, I'll get around to it, because you've already got it. That, for me, a bit of a media trick there, but it's true. How often do we say, well, I'll get around to that? Because there's always something on fire that we need to put out, something we need to do urgently. We never get around to stepping back from the day-to-day and looking at how we can actually improve and get better. So, you've got options. Action your improvement, for one. If you're really, really interested, my gift to you is a free 1-hour review of how you do things, what you do. And I'll give you a little roadmap of things you can do. If you think there's more things juggling at the minute that you need to think about. QR code for that. Third option is do nothing. Don't be in the majority that come away from a great event like this and do nothing. Be part of the 1% that take action and actually improve. It's great to come here, it's great to network, it's great to meet new people. I was actually speaking to a guy last night that said, oh, I don't do any follow-up. I meet these people, I take their business cards, and I sort of look at them in 6 weeks and go, oh, I'll throw them away now. Why? What a missed opportunity. So take action, do something. So this is a limited offer as well. It's usually a half an hour I give to people, but for EBL, I'm giving you guys an hour. The fourth option is to connect with me on LinkedIn if you would like to as well, because I'm quite frequent on there, and I've just launched a podcast as well, which is really, really exciting. Closing thoughts for me. Change is inevitable. It's all around us, big or small. But growth is optional. That is your choice. How are you going to take action and improve and grow your business? So the next time you're making a slice of toast, think of what I can do differently. Think of how I can improve. Am I meeting my customer requirements? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave. Let's have another massive round of applause for Dave Stubberfield, everybody. Now, we have either online, if you're tuning in, I've got time for some questions. It could be about something Dave's touched on. It could be a personal challenge. This is your chance not only to share it with Dave, but also maybe to tap into the wisdom of the room as well. So if there's a specific question that's on your mind right now, now is the time to ask. And you can say who you are, you can promote your company, but you don't have to if you don't want to. Dave, that was brilliant, by the way.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'll tell you a true story, by the way. I asked one of my best friends and colleagues a year ago what they thought of a piece of work I'd done. And they had volunteered initially and said, Ollie, I really like that. I said, oh, thanks very much. Can I get some feedback? She goes, no, it's great. I said, no, but I'd really like to know what you think. And I'll tell you who it was. It was Shah Wasmond. There you go. So I've outed Shah now. I said, but really, what did you think? She goes, no, it's really good. I said, Shah, I want to know brutally honestly. We've known each other for a long time. She goes, 4 out of 10. We then had the most useful half-an-hour conversation I'd had on that project ever.
Yep. And that's, for me, is the power of talking to people. And there's so much wisdom in this room with what you guys do that the networking opportunities out there, make the most of it. That's all I can say.
Yeah, and just be real, because I think that we're so supportive to each other as business owners, and we say, look, it's fantastic. We don't want to criticize. We've only just met someone. But giving someone permission to say, look, I know it's a 6.
Yep.
You can tell me how you think I could improve it.
Yep.
So powerful. Right, I see a hand over here, and then we'll go right to the back of the room. Thank you very much. Morning, Steph. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. My name's Joshua Sly, and I'm with Dash Insight. So my question is, how do you find clients that would benefit from change when they're potentially blind to it?
What a question. Quickly think of an answer. No, I'm joking. I think for me, it's how can you talk in their language? I worked with a CEO once who was blind to measures and KPIs. He didn't see the things that are on fire around him. I think for me, it's, okay, what measures can we bring to the table that are important? So he's talking financial figures. And I'm saying, wouldn't it be great to sort of turn that up a notch? And he was like, that would be amazing. That's my target for this year. Cool. I've got an idea on that. Let me run with it. And again, I find it's getting to a level with people. Short story, there was a guy in a workshop years ago who didn't like the change I was talking about. I noticed on his laptop he had a Star Wars sticker. So in the break I said, has anyone seen The Mandalorian on Disney? And he was like, you like Star Wars, Dave? I was like, yeah, I love Star Wars. For the entire break, we spoke about Star Wars. Afterwards, he was like my friend. And he didn't challenge anything after that. So it's getting to know people, potentially on a personal level, but what's important to them.
So, Dave, quick question, because we're running on time. Thank you for sending this online. Our questioner says, I've been running a business for 20 years, but I think the bread is burnt. Is it wise to start from scratch and restart my processes? How do I do this? What's the first step? It's a pretty big question.
Massive question. I often say I'm the fresh eyes to stuff. So I come in and I say, why'd you do it like that?
Yeah.
And sometimes it could be the process, could be a 4 out of 10. So it's not broken, it just needs enhancing. It needs tweaking, it needs fixing. The improvements you guys have written down, I would say it's starting small. I think if you're trying to take on the world and boil the ocean, that's when change doesn't really happen. So I think start small, look at something and you go, that's a pain point for either ourselves, our customers, how can we change that? And then start to look at the processes from there.
Excellent. So we've got time for a couple more. There was one over there. Thank you. I'm looking around the studio here. Thank you.
Hi, Dave. Thanks for that. My name is David. I run a social media agency. I'm slightly hungover.
Good man.
I appreciate you've covered a lot in that session. We've got some clients in the room as well. So if there's one thing you want people to kind of take away and use from everything that you've talked about, what would that be?
Don't follow the norm. Just because surveys seem to be the in thing, don't spend a lot of time and money on it, potentially. The response rate, I don't know if anyone knows, is around 4 to 12%. So you could put so much time and effort into a survey because you go, that's what everyone's doing. We need to capture Net Promoter Score. Speak to your clients, speak to your customers, get to know them. And that, for me, is kind of the importance of it. So just because it might be trendy, AI is one for me. If you want to have a AI chatbot interface, whatever it might be, make sure it works. Tell people that it's a robot, because you don't want people going after 4 or 5, it's a robot I'm talking to. So try not to just stick to the norm. Apple's a great example. They have great customer experience. HP tried to copy their customer experience. HP isn't Apple. HP's got its own brand. So I would say, don't stick to the norm.
So on that, Dave, something that does seem to be becoming less talked about, certainly in my experience, is gut, is instinct, okay? Because we've got so much great data, right? So Shweta has asked this question. With organizations becoming more data-driven, do you think leaders risk outsourcing improvement decisions to dashboards instead of human judgment?
That's a really great question. And I wrote an article not too long ago about the power of AI that can give you the best strategy in the world in 3 seconds. You've actually got to go and implement it. You've got to go and do something with it. And it's great to get these insights from dashboards and all of the data. But I think for me, it's really looking at how it works for you and what's important to you. Don't be blinded by social media metrics if that's not your thing. I mean, my brain is a mess right now. I've got 8 million views in the last 30 days on my Instagram account, and my mind's going, wow.
Hang on. What?
This is just mental, right?
How come?
Because I've been starting to share reels. I'm sharing reels that are funny, kind of office-based things, and people go, this is funny.
What's your Instagram name? We need to follow.
Carter _ Consultancy. You should probably know that off the top of my head. But Instagram, for me, isn't my place where I find my clients. It's talking to people.
Yeah.
It's referrals. It's word of mouth.
But that's your point, doing things differently, switching it up.
But I'm not now going to go, I need to get 9 million next month. I'm not going to hang my hat on that. It could just fall off a cliff. That's so be it. I'm just over the moon with 8 million.
Love that. Congrats, by the way.
Thank you.
So we've got two minutes left. Is there a final quick question in the room before we say thank you to Dave? Looking out into the room. Yeah, how about here? Thank you.
I'm Kapil Panwar. I've started my own startup in ethics, AI works, AI governance, and decision accountability. I'm fond of continuous improvement. I come from a manufacturing background.
Yep.
My question is the mindset. How do you change leaders' mindset? They are so busy into delivering products, services, and it's very difficult to change the person's mindset.
Massively.
Great question. And Dave, we're after your 1 minute answer here.
Okay, no pressure. So I think for me, hearts and minds have to win them over massively. I would argue the leadership team is a softer part. You want to say to the leadership team, give me the ability to go and speak to your frontline guys, and that's where the real magic happens. Then build up from the bottom and say, the teams go, right, okay, we've helped to get to the vision, the strategy, whatever it might be. We've contributed to that, and that alleviates the leadership. So I think for me, that's where I would go. Is that less than a minute? Cool.
Yeah, that was amazing. That was exactly on time. Dave, we've got lots more questions actually coming in, but maybe we'll ask you to field those sort of privately and afterwards
of course.
as well. Thank you for being our perfect warm-up act. Perfectly done, if I may say, not overcooked in the slightest. We really appreciate it. Thank you. And who knows what will pop up next, everyone. Dave Stubberfield, thank you very much.
Very much.
Very good. Thank you. Right, so